I'm gonna just talk about CineVivo and just save just like 10 minutes at the end, if I have time, to show you a little bit of Orbit. So you can see the difference of two projects that are, well, the Orbit was developed through the CineVivo code. Um, and I think I told you, like, well, I mentioned earlier that CineVivo was programmed by this Esteban Betancourt, that is a Colombian friend from Medellin. And you can access the GitHub, the project in GitHub here. So you can also install it, install the code so you can make changes. Because the idea of CineVivo is that it is not, it's really unfinished. It just, yeah, the idea is that if you want to develop something else with that code, with the specific needs that you need, you will be able to use that code for those means. So yes, so you can download that the whole information here. It's a little bit difficult to install it in Windows, but none of you have Windows, so but it's very difficult. Like, but also, like, if you have questions about how to install it, you can contact Esteban. That could help you go through the installation in Windows. So I think I gave you this folder, the CineVivo master folder. So inside that folder, you have all the you even have the code there. We won't look at that part. We will just go to the bin folder, and the bin folder inside there is the app, the CineVivo app that you can run, and you will have this window, this window here. It will appear, and it will ask you like for access to your webcam. I won't see, like, I won't check the webcam line of code today. Tomorrow, if we have time in the separate workshops, we can check that part. But so you can just maybe, if you want to grant it access to the webcam or not, it doesn't matter right now because we won't use it today. You can make it full screen and work that way. And also, a very important thing in CineVivo is the data folder. So inside the data folder, there are several folders where you need to place the sources, the video or image or audio sources that you will use for to play in CineVivo. That means that, for example, the video folder that we will use right now, it has, I think in your case, it has 10 videos, R underscore 00 to the 10. So all the videos that you, or all the images or anything that you will play in CineVivo, it has to be inside of the data folder, and it has to be inside of a specific folder. For example, videos goes here, images goes, they have to go here. Audio has its a specific folder, and so on. So they have to be here in order to be like play in CineVivo. And okay, so if you have questions, just let me know. So the code, it's very simple. You can use it either in English or in Spanish. We will just obviously we will see the English part, but we will also show you how to change into the Spanish and go back into the English part. But basically, how it works, we have 9 layers. By the way, if you want to make the code bigger, you just have to press Command plus, yeah, and you can make it bigger. So it has 9 layers. It has more, but I think if you add more than 9, it depends on your computer, it would just start like crashing. So I would just recommend you not to add more than 9. So basically, I don't know if you have worked with software like image software. You have layers, like for example in Photoshop, you have layers. That means that in this case, layer 9 is above all of them. Okay, so if you load a video in layer 4, and then you load a video in layer 1, the 4 will be on the top of 1. Okay, so it just start 1, 2, 3, 4, and just go on. So you have to load a video, you have to write the number of the layer in which you want to start, like, add the video. It doesn't have to be 1 at the beginning, it can be 5, like you can use any layer that you want. Then a space, the word load, a space, and the name of the video. For example, I think you have this one, and to play it, you have to press Command E, and then you will have the video there. If you don't change the letter, you just change the video and just press it again. The video will change. But again, if you you can add another line. One of the things that is difficult that I think I also mentioned is that you cannot select text here. So I think the cursor is always at the end. So just be careful with that. So if we just press enter and just start writing in the second line, we can load a different video. I would just load 07, and I would just press Command E to play it. So in this case, I cannot see my video 1 anymore. And I already told you that when I'm starting adding videos in upper layers, and they are in the same position, I won't be able to see it unless I made a transformation in either one. So one of the transformations that you can do is that I already have these two, so I don't need that code anymore unless I need it. I will just change a different thing. I will change the position. So to change the position, I need to again write first the number of the layer that I want to change or to transform. I want to transfer the video of the dolphins, which it's in layer 2. So I just write 2 space pause for position. And then I had to add 2 parameters. That means that the value in the coordinate x and then the value in the coordinate y. So if I just write 500 in the x and 500 in the y, and just press Command E, my video in layer 2 will change. Okay, so there are different things that I can do with the transformation. For example, if I don't want to change the position, both positions in x and y, I can also write position x plus just 1 parameter, and it will just change the position in x. So the same with y. And I just have to write 1 parameter. The other thing that I can change is, obviously, if I don't want my video in layer number 1 anymore, I can just write the number of layer, which is 1, and then write free, which just means that it will free my layer 1, and I won't have that video anymore. So I just have right now, I just have layer 2, and I just make some other transformation. For example, size. So layer 2 space size, and then it has 2 parameters, with the width and the height. So I will just I think I would just add 2, and I cannot see anymore because this is in pixels, so I have to make it bigger. I think I don't remember how big my videos are. But yes, so I'm transforming my video. That means that width will be 1000 pixels and height will be 100 pixels. So yes. So again, if I just want to change one of the if I just want to change the width, I can just write width in layer number 2 and just change it. Okay, so that's the transformation that we can make. I'm gonna make another transformation that is a scale. So I will just, before doing that, I'm just gonna make my video again in the square format that I had. So will be 500. No, I will make it smaller. Okay, so right now my layer 2 is 200 pixels by 200 pixels, and I'm gonna scale it. So the difference between a scale and size is that in a scale it will be just make it bigger or smaller, it just maintaining the same format as my video. So these are potential values. That means that if I grade 2, I have to grade 2 for the width and the height. If I grade 2, it will just duplicate the width, and it will duplicate also the height. So it doesn't work with pixels. It just it duplicates, or if I grade 3, that means that it will make 3 times bigger than my original value. So I can make it smaller than my original value. That means that right now my original video was 200 by 200, and right now it's 100 by 100. So I will make it a little bit bigger. No, not that much. Okay. So yeah. So the other one is color. So I can make I can also change the color of my video, just from the one that it already has. I have to add 3 values. That means that is the R, the G, and the B channel. So I would just, I think I have a space somewhere. Oh, I missed something. Now I cannot find my cursor. Yeah, that's the bad part of CineVivo. That I don't find my cursor anymore, so I would just I would just reopen my CineVivo. Okay, so lot okay, so I have it here. I will just again change the position. Oh, so much. Okay. Okay. And I think I already told you this, but if I just want to change the video, I will just load a different video in the same layer, and that will change the video that I'm using. For example, here, that will change it. So we will just go to color 100, 150, and it will just like modify or transform the colors in there. Like I have red, green, and blue. That means I don't have blue too much, and green is very high for the reason it's kind of like greenish. So the other one that I can just modify, it's the opacity. That means if in my layer number 2, I will just load one of my videos, and in 3, I will also load another video. They will be in the same position, but number 3, I will change its opacity, and the values are 0 to 255, and 255 is you don't have any opacity, and 0 you have a lot of opacity, so you cannot see the video anymore. So I would just maybe add 100, and then I can see a little bit of my other video behind, because I'm playing with the opacity in the upper layer, which is the number 3. The other thing that you can add, I think that's the last thing that I'm gonna show you. Yeah, the other thing that I can change the speed. I was changing the speed in our performance earlier, so I would just 1, I think, is the normal one, and if you go 1 to 0 is a stop. So that means that if I go to my layer number 1, and I just play, it just stops. If I just change it to 0.5, it will be half of the speed of the speed that the video already has. One is just normal, and if I go faster, then it would just go faster. But I don't really want. I really like to go faster, but then I always crash my computer. Everything that I change the speed. Mostly if you have a lot of videos, like my computer, if I just change the speed and go like very, very fast in all my 9 videos, it just starts like crashing. I think that happened to me in some point, and then I had to just use not use the speed like speed it, no, on speed it. I don't know how to say that. On speed it, like slow it. Yes. So now the last thing that I'm gonna show you is the filters. So I'm gonna add another video. See, now it's kind of like slow. So I'm gonna add another video in layer number 7. So I'm gonna add the reggaeton video that you don't have. Yeah. I can also, like, obviously for performance options, you can change the number of the name of your videos, and then you can also perform with that. So videos, I have one that is called reggaeton that I was using, which is this one. So that's the one that I'm calling. Okay, that's the one. I'm gonna scale it to make it a little bit bigger, and then I'm gonna add filters. So you can add, there's 37 filters in CineVivo. I would recommend you just to check all of them, like to just evaluate each one so you can see the difference. So to add filters, you have to write the number of the layer again, then the word filter. I will just liberate the other ones because I think my computer is slow. Free. Okay, yeah, it's this speed video. Okay, so so this is number 7. So I will just write 7 position. Well, I'm gonna change the position so you can see my code. Okay, no. Okay, okay. So you can see my code. 7 filter, and then 1 is just to activate the filters. Okay, if you want to deactivate it, you just have to change this 1 to 0. But this line of code basically just to activate the filters. Now we have to choose the filters, which is again the number of the layer, space, filter mode, and then just a number between 1 and 37, I think. So I would just add 20, and I will evaluate this. And I think it's a little bit darker. Like, not all of them change a lot, the videos. For that reason, I told you that the best thing to do when just with the filters is just go one by one to see what they do and how they look. Some of the filters change the colors, and since I don't really have colors because it's a black and white video, maybe I won't see some of them. But yes, so these are some of the filters. So it goes to 37. Questions so far? So right now I'm just working in English, but maybe at the middle of my performance I just decide that I'm gonna switch the language of my CineVivo. So by default I have English, Spanish, but I also have a custom one. Like, if you are interested, tomorrow we can see more about the custom one. But right now I will just check the Espanol. So basically, if I want to use the Spanish version, I just want to write. I need to write Espanol. Just evaluate that word, and then from there, I need. If I want to add something, for example, a layer 4, love, which is the other one that I have. With the gato madre is the one that is the cat. Okay, if I want to add that, it won't work anymore because it's not in English. So the word if in Spanish is cargar, and I just will evaluate and I will have my cat. Igual, so I'm just starting to speak in Spanish. Sorry, the same. To change the position in Spanish is in Spanish is posicionar. I think I have something wrong. But yeah, posicionar. Posicionar. Yeah. I don't know why it didn't. Okay, posicionar. So I can use all the things that I was telling you. There's also a version in Spanish. And the filter, I don't know why the filter is the same. It should be filtro, but filter is in English. So far filter is the same in English or in Spanish. If you would like to come back to English, to the English one, I don't know why it's not working right now because I was trying, but it's supposed like you need to like just evaluate the in the word English, and it should be working, but I don't know why it was not working when I was doing that. So I would just try. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working. But if I want to go back to English, but yeah, the I'm gonna ask Esteban why it's not working. But you can see if it's working. If not, you just can just open again CineVivo. So yes, so I will just maybe give you a few time to check CineVivo, and then I can tell you a little bit more about Orbit too, so you can see the difference between CineVivo and Orbit. Again, basically the idea with CineVivo was to work with language, also like have the opportunity to modify the commands and just change it, and maybe we had a sentence that is a poetic sentence that could also run something in the computer or communicate with the computer in some way. So that was one of the things when I helped Esteban to think CineVivo. And the other thing is that because I told you I'm a visual artist, and I really liked working with textures, with video, like textures in video. And back, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, we just really had just Fluxus, which is vector. It's animated vectors, and I didn't want it to that approach in my work. So for that reason, I didn't do light coding back then. And when we started when I helped develop with the conceptual part in CineVivo, I was like, okay, I want to use videos. Yeah, so that's kind of like the idea behind using just clips of video. So basically, for example, I just like share with you just 10 videos, but I usually have a lot of these square format videos. But you can also like add other videos, but they have to be in MOV, to be played. So yes, so you can just start using CineVivo, and if you have any question. Mm-hmm.
Is a custom for other, so you can make your own language based on any other natural language using the custom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can add anything to the custom, right? Like basically, it's like you just go to like a file that is inside of the data folder, and I think you can. There must be some constraints about how which words you can use, because 2 months ago or something, I used the custom with Purepecha words, and I think it didn't, which is a native language in the place where I live in Mexico. So I couldn't use some of these symbols from the letters. I think the one that is quotation, but it's with one. You know, how do you say this? It's just like something like is there instead of the quotation, like the two is just one. I don't know.
Single quote?
Like if I just add this kind to the title, like I don't know, some of the words in Purepecha are like this, and it doesn't let me really have this mark here. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah. So there's must be some, like I didn't ask Esteban too much about that, but there's some constraints about what you can use. I think mainly you will have to use Latin letters. I don't know if it will be working if you use other kind of like symbols or letters from yes. So I will just add here what you can change. So you have the load, and then remember that all of them they have number of layer first, then the transformation of the action, and then a parameter or more parameters or a name. So the first one is load, which requires the name of video. The other one is free, which is the number of layer plus free to liberate that layer. And you can also just write clean without number of layer, just the name clean, just the word clean, and that will clean all your layers or all your channels. The other one is pause, that will need two parameters for x and y. Size will need width and height. You can also use pause x just with one parameter. So this is just one parameter, or the same pause y and a one parameter. I don't know why it just add the e. Okay. The same with size. You can just write width, or I always confuse how to write height. Speed. It will need one value. Which I already add a scale. That it will need two values to scale the width, and then scale the height. The other one is color. It will need three values. Opacity, it just one value from 0 to 255. And then to the filter is the, again, number of the layer. Filter, it's 1 to activate, 0 to deactivate. And then you have to add the filter mode, which it could be something between 1 and 37. And I don't know, like, well, maybe because I won't say too much, and then we can just experiment with both of them. So maybe you can continue with the streaming. So I can just show you just a little bit of the difference between the other things that you can do in Orbit. So the same Orbit is, you can just open Orbit. I will just explain, just three things that you can do in Orbit. But if you want to the whole like manual or how to use Orbit, you can write press I think it's Command or Control 2. I don't remember which one is Command or Control 2. So you have some instructions here, but I will just erase everything to start from 0. So basically, in Orbit, you can do mostly the things that you can do with CineVivo, but the interesting part of Orbit is because Emilio wanted to work what happened? specifically he wanted to work with 3D objects. So that's the thing, like the part that you can do. So if, again, in the data folder inside of the place where you have the orbit app, there is a lot of folders where you need to place the files that you will need. So for example, here in the 3D folder, I have two 3D objects, which is Dino and the stone. And if I go back here, I will just write the number of layer, again is from 1 to 9. Then I will write model load, and then the name of my file, which is Dino with the extension. And command E, it's for, again, for just to play the line of code. And here it just like it loads, but I need to move. So one of the things that you can do that is very I like is that you can change, you can move the camera, not the object, but the camera that is seeing the object. So if you write camera, then orbit, and then it has to have two parameters. So that's kind of like the position and the speed of movement, I think. So I will just start looking at this moment. I can also move the object and other things. I can also like add some of the feedback. Yeah, feedback enable. If I just write feedback enable, I will have this feedback that is constrained in that corner, but I can also move the position of my feedback. So the other things that I can do is add glitch. So there are different kind of glitches in the information in orbit with command 2. You can find the other the names. So for example, one of the glitches is convergence, and then write true to run it, and it's not run it. Okay, I have something. I think. Yes, glitch convergence true, and then I can add this. So yeah, so that's kind of like in CineVivo you can also play with 3D objects, but it doesn't have these camera like lines of code that you can move, where you can move. So yes. So again, if you go to, I have the feedback there. So for that reason, I cannot see the information. But if I enable the feedback, that it will be very difficult because now I don't see my code. I can access this information, which is the manual of how to use Orbit too. So yes. So now if you want to play with them.